Hey guys, so here at the shop, I get a lot of road bikes and gravel bikes. Those are the main bikes we service here that people bring it in. Of course, we do service tri-bikes, triathlon bikes, and of course, hybrid regular bikes. We don't get much mountain bike. There's not much mountain biking around here. And when people come in the shop looking to buy a gravel bike or road bike, there is always this question, which bike should I get? Is it worth investing in a road bike and then maybe putting some gravel tires on it and use it as a gravel, or do the opposite? Or should I have a road bike that's specific for the road and then another bike that's specific for gravel? There are differences, and on this video I'm going to show you the 4 key differences between a road bike and a gravel bike. Okay, so here I have 2 Factor bikes, Ostrovam road bike, Factor LS gravel bike. What are a few key differences between these 2 bikes? Well, first of all, the geometry. The geometry can make a great difference how the bike handles, how the bike feels, and how the bike rides. A gravel bike usually will have a wider wheelbase, or the distance between the rear axle and the front axle compared to a road bike. Also, the head tube, usually it's a little taller. You'll be sitting more upright on a gravel bike, because on the gravel bike, you're looking more into comfort and stability, or more control. On a road bike, you're looking to have less wind resistance as possible, so you can go fast with at least energy possible. Now, also on the gravel bike, you can go all the way to comfort, and you can add suspension or some pivot points on the frame so it will flex more. But keep in mind that you will lose power, a little bit of power. You are gonna waste actually a little bit of power when the more suspension you put on a gravel bike. So geometry-wise, usually the gravel bike, it will have a more comfort position and more control. You'll need that when you're riding on gravel and rocky, sandy ground. Second key feature, and this is a quick one and pretty obvious one, is the tire clearance. Gravel bikes can put much wider tires compared to a road bike, although road bikes lately have come with a pretty clearance tires where you could put pretty wide tires on them, but still not as comparable to a gravel bike. And you want to have enough space, not just to put a wider tire, but if there is any rock or debris, won't get stuck in between the fork, and that could damage your frame. I'm pretty exaggerating about that, but the more clearance you have, the better it is, and especially if you're going to really rough, rocky, sandy terrain where you're gonna need a pretty wide tire that you will find its limits on the road bike. Third key difference is that usually you'll see on the gravel bike more mounting bolts, so you can add bags onto the frame, extra water bottle cage, so you can put it on the top tube, the down tube, the seat stay, because these bikes are also great for long adventures, bike touring, and you want to be very efficient, and you're not so worried about carrying some extra weight or being more aerodynamic. Compared to a road bike, people don't even want to put a saddle bag underneath their saddle because it's going to add like 200 grams to the bike, and you don't want to do that on a race, right? And the fourth difference is not really into the frame or bike itself, but the gear, the equipment you're going to add to the bike, the components. So for example, the pedals, you will most likely put a mountain bike pedal on them because they're more suitable to walk on dirt, get it dirty. They're more robust. They won't damage as easily as a road bike pedal that is one-sided, and if you get the clips dirty, it's harder to put it on or clip off. So you probably want to put a mountain bike pedals on a gravel bike. Also, another thing that we can say that 50-60% of gravel grinders have a one-by. You don't need so many gears on a gravel bike, and also it's more reliable, more simple, less likely that the chain will fall off your chain ring compared to the road bike, where you want as much gear as possible and you want the small ring and the big ring, although that has been changing a lot lately, where you've been seeing more road bikes with one bike. That's been more common, especially when we have more gear options on the cassette, on the rear cassette. Also, we're not so worried of having a super fancy group set on the gravel. Usually you want something more robust. Nothing wrong with putting a SRAM Red or Dura-Race on a gravel bike, but you're not so worried of having maybe one or two cables exposed, like this one has two cables here from the hydraulic brakes. As in the road bike, you want to stay as clean as possible, more aero. Some people like that. I've been riding the Colnago that has no cables exposed, and I got used to that. So for me, it feels a little weird looking at some cables, but not when I'm riding gravel. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with having some cables exposed. I'm not so worried about the aerodynamics. It's all about the comfort, efficiency, and control on the trail. But yeah, these are the key differences when I look at a gravel bike and a road bike. Can you use a road bike to ride gravel? For sure. Can you do adaptations? Absolutely, especially with the road bikes coming in with a more wide clearance, so you can put wider tires on them, especially the endurance bikes. They have been kind of being built to fit both worlds, the gravel and the road, and you can easily turn an endurance bike into a gravel bike. Maybe not so much an aero like the Ostrovam or some other bikes out there, but nothing is impossible. And yes, the gravel bike, I could easily put some slick tires, 28s, 30s. Might be a little weird looking these thinner tires on these wide forks here, but it would be totally okay. Carbon bike, super fast bike too, wouldn't be a problem at all. If I would choose to ride, it depends on how much I would ride on gravel and road. Usually I'm most on road bikes and riding on the road, so maybe I could get an endurance bike and then have two sets of wheels to ride on gravel eventually when I do. And the gravel here close to the shop is not a super tough terrain, so it's pretty, you don't need a super wide tire. But if you plan to ride 50% or more on gravel and do like some gravel races or events that are pretty long, I would really look into, if you had a road bike, getting a specific bike for the gravel, because you will feel on a long ride a difference in comfort, and you will need that extra storage to carry food. So I would think about that for sure. So yeah, I think that's it for this video. Guys, I'll see you in our next ride experience. Ciao.